Heads! This week's challenge is the two-touch challenge. To the left of me, we have the fan. You nervous?
Yeah, a little bit.
And to the right of me, we have the influencers.
Oh!
And they're going up against me, the host.
We're going again, yeah?
So how'd you feel?
Hi and welcome along to AFTV, brought to you today by Mask FC. The link is in the description if you want to get yourself an Arsenal-inspired mask or any other team that you support. Mask FC got you covered in that, so got to wear masks nowadays, man. Is what it is, right? We all know what time it is when it comes to that. But we are here for the evening show tonight. Get your comments in on the subjects we're going to be talking about. We're going to be touching on tomorrow's game, of course. I know it's a dead game. It's Thursday night. And we are also going to be touching on quite a serious subject that we saw in the Champions League games last night, or should I say the Champions League game against Paris Saint-Germain and Batistuta, where the players walked off the pitch because of a racism incident. There's also the incident that happened the other day at Millwall about taking the knee. So we want to have a bit of a discussion around that as well. So we've got a packed show for you tonight. And joining me up first is Mo. How you doing, Mo?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, Robbie. I can't hear you very well, but I am not too bad. And I say I'm not too bad. I'm actually livid, as you know, because we've had a couple of chats over the last couple of days.
Yeah, I know you're always livid. But you're even more livid or even more angrier than normal. I know on this subject that we're about to touch on. First of all, just before we do touch on that, I have to ask you, did you have a little laugh last night at Manchester United? Because I know I did. I'm sorry, right? I've been getting so much grief off United fans, right? The other day after that Tottenham game, every time I did a live show, every other comment, Bruno, Cavani, this, that, enjoy your Thursday nights. Well, listen, you are here on Thursday nights as well. I told them you may join us, and now they have joined us. And I had such a laugh last night. I don't know about you.
Oh, I loved it. It's beautiful because you look at the start they got off to, beating PSG, beating Leipzig 5-0. I mean, that was one hell of a result. And the fact that they've thrown it all away. What they've done in the group stage is the exact opposite of what they do in matches. First half was incredible, and then they've thrown it away. Usually first half is awful, and they kind of claw it back. And they even got the help of a ridiculous penalty decision as well from the referee. Never a penalty.
And also the second goal that they got, that was handball. Harry Maguire hit the ball with his fist.
Right, didn't notice that. But
and as the guys in the office said today, hand of fridge.
But I love it, Robbie. And obviously, loads of fans will turn around to us and say, "What are you laughing at? You can't talk." At least you're right. You're 100% right. We shouldn't be laughing, but we still are.
As that guy says there, Barra 009, welcome to the Europa United. Trust me, I had to have a laugh because after our horrible time at the weekend, to get one back at a man was brilliant. Exactly. But listen, we're going to touch on a more serious subject, and we saw yesterday in the game with PSG that the players walked off the pitch. Right, this is now. I mean, you couldn't write last night's one, right? Because it was actually a match official that apparently made the racist comment. And then, of course, last week there was the incident at Millwall where players went to take the knee and they were booed.
Yeah.
Happy to say that last night Millwall at their game, when players went to take the knee, and when the players held up that banner, the anti-racism banner, they cheered. So let's put that down there. They did actually cheer, and they, the fans that were there did not repeat what happened the other day. But what have you made of it? And what have you made of? I know you're particularly angry about some of the responses to it.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. You talk about the fact that it was a match yesterday in the PSG Istanbul game. And it just makes you realise it's not just players, it's not just fans, it's match officials. And now we also know it's radio presenters as well. And for me, you're talking about, I'm annoyed about a reaction or reactions. The most high-profile reaction that we've seen from the fallout of the Millwall game was that of Simon Jordan. And Robbie, you know what? I'm absolutely disgusted by that. When I saw that clip that a lot of you would have seen on social media, instantly my blood boiled. I just could not believe what I was hearing on that clip. And we'll go on to that. Some people might not see the subtleties and how devious and disrespectful and offensive it was what Simon Jordan was saying. But probably the only nice thing I'll say about Simon Jordan today is that he's a very intelligent, well-spoken person. You can get that vibe from him. You can see that clearly. And the way he's applied that intelligence and that articulate ability that he's got, he's applied it in the worst of ways. And when we dissect what he said, it will expose his desire to distract from racism, distract from people that oppose anti-discrimination, and it will also expose his elements of white supremacy. And I will be as strong as saying that he showed glimpses of white supremacy in what the rubbish that he was talking about. And as far as I'm concerned, there needs to be a huge backlash against what he said, because it's disgustingly offensive. And until he loses his job, justice will not have been served.
Well, can you sort of, because not everybody heard what he said. I mean, I was actually listening to the show at the time. I was driving into work, and I did hear what he said. And I must admit, I was shocked. And the funny thing is, somebody sent me. I mean, basically, let me just explain to people out there who may not have seen the clip. It was in response to what happened last week at Millwall, where, if you're not aware, Millwall players, they were playing against Derby County. Millwall and Derby Counties went and took the knee, as all the clubs have been doing throughout this whole pandemic period and since last summer with the whole George Floyd Black Lives Matter movement stuff. And players have been taking a knee in solidarity, to show solidarity to other black players and players of colour, to say that we don't want to have any discrimination in football. When they did it at Millwall, there was a section, I mean, you say section, is a very large section of the 2,000 fans that were there that started booing. And of course, it was met with a lot of disgust in the world of football. Simon Jordan, on his show on TalkSport on Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday or Monday, was sort of defending the actions by saying that the Millwall fans were not booing the actual, cause, or the actual, they were booing. Let me explain what he said. He said they were booing for a reason. They were booing because they see that Black Lives Matter, that movement, is associated with left-wing movements, with people who've been trying to pull down statues, with people who were protesting and defacing statues, with people who've been talking about defunding the police, etc. And he kind of sought to justify why they had done it. And, obviously there's been a big backlash to what he said on the subject. So just to fill people in case they weren't aware of what he said. And
also, Simon Jordan, as I said, he is an intelligent bloke, and he knows that he can't come out and say they were right to boo. He knows he needs to generate a weird, overly complicated, subtle angle that gives him plausible deniability. And what really bothers me, Robbie, is that a lot of people, that the blood running through their veins, when it's not anti-racist when they're not anti-racist at their core, the way racism is expressed in 2020 is not simply someone coming up to me and saying the P word, someone coming up to you and saying the N word. That explicit racism, thankfully, is not as common anymore. It still exists, but it's not as common, because people know there's going to be repercussions if that happens. So now racism manifests itself in more latent ways, in more subtle ways. And you do that not by going up to someone and using a racist term. You do that by trying to distract from the issues that bring about equality, that bring about justice. You do that by limiting opportunities for people of color. And you do that in subtle ways. And one thing I really enjoyed was Hugh Woosencroft on TalkSport yesterday. He read out multiple statistics of how people of color are worse off in society. And these statistics were from the boards of FTSE 100 companies to how Black women are more liable to dying in childbirth, to how Black people making insurance claims are less likely to get their insurance paid out than white people. Various things. Now, when people want to be racist, what they do is they try and limit the progress of equality. What Simon Jordan did and said yesterday was exactly that. And not only that, he went above and beyond that. And as I said, he showed glimpses of a mindset of white supremacy. And now what I'll do, I'm just going to read out a quote on one of the first things he said in just the small 2-minute and something second clip that went around on social media. He said, "I don't know, and neither do you, Jim White, who's his co-presenter, neither do people who have assumed that centered in this is racism as the reaction." That's what he said. Now, racism is a form of discrimination. When you want to discriminate against someone, that might be because of their color, it might be because of their sexual orientation, might be because of their gender, whatever it might be. Racism is a form of discrimination. So if, for example, the Millwall fans accepted and admitted that, yes, they are against the fight for anti-discrimination, then yes, we do know that they are being racist in booing. And had Simon Jordan cared to read the statement that the Millwall Supporters Club have released, so this is not hearsay, this is Millwall Supporters Club. I'm going to read out what they have said about the booing. And bear with me, it's a paragraph, and it's quite wordy, but you're going to have to follow this. It says, equally, anyone who, I'm reading from mid-statement, equally, anyone who booed in the ground yesterday should read the views of Marley and Romeo and those of the Millwall players released on Friday. They chose to take the knee to highlight the need for more anti-discrimination work and action, something Millwall has always been at the forefront of through our community work. And now it gets interesting. They explicitly did not use it to support any political viewpoint or organization, and therefore the booing shows disagreement with anti-discrimination. Listen to that last part. Therefore, the booing shows disagreement with anti-discrimination. They're clearly telling us the people booed disagree with anti-discrimination.
And as well, Mo, the thing is, the players, I think they saw this might have been coming. The players actually came out before the game and said to everybody, made it clear that this is nothing to do with politics. When we go down and take the knee in football, it's nothing to do with politics. This is about showing, respect and support to our fellow Black players and players of colour. That's all it is. It's nothing to do with politics. It's nothing to do with anything like that. All it is that. And I'm like you. I couldn't believe. As I said, I was actually listening. It's not just the clip. I was driving in. I was listening to the show, and I was shocked with what I heard. I was shocked. And the funny enough is that today somebody sent me a video of this movement, what they call British First or something. They're like, in them right-wing groups here. And literally the guy's in it, he's talking outside Millwall's ground. He's, obviously spewing the same sort of stuff. He's literally saying the same things that what Simon Jordan was saying live on radio, which I couldn't, it was just unreal.
And also Simon Jordan has come out and tried to do is try and make the whole thing so ambiguous, so hard to kind of pin down, that his whole point is being contradicted by the Millwall Supporters Club when they literally say the booing shows disagreement with anti-discrimination. So let me ask you, Robbie, if you disagree with anti-discrimination, that equal and opposite meaning is that you are pro-discrimination. Yeah, you disagree with anti-discrimination, therefore you agree with discrimination. So racism as a form, as the worst form of discrimination. That's exactly why they were booing. And we know that because Millwall Supporters Club came out and released a goddamn statement admitting it. So how dare you, Simon Jordan, try and make this such an ambiguous matter and claim that we don't know? And not only that, what really bothers me, if you listen to that clip, he later on starts talking about his own life experiences, his own lived experiences about how he knows the club, he knows the ex-owner, and he relies on all of these experiences that are very personal to him to reach a conclusion. Yet, when thousands of people of color who know through their own lived experiences in certain moments of discomfort, certain glances they get, certain smirks that they get, in certain situations, we're not making it up. We're not idiots that just exist with no brains in our minds. We know. And we don't even, it's not that we even know, Robbie. You and I know, following football around the world, that there's some places we'd rather not be. And certain looks that we get when we walk into certain establishments, we know. We're not making it up. So Simon,
well, he was also saying that, the Millwall fans can't be racist because they voted a black player.
Robbie, I'll get onto that.
The player of the season.
But
you couldn't make it up.
What really annoys me, Robbie, is that why does he think that he can rely on his lived experiences to form a conclusion, but we're not worthy of that? We do know. But why would Simon Jordan know? He's never been the victim of racism, has he? He hasn't heard how people boo certain players, certain nationalities, some of the things that they say in football terraces, because he's never been on the receiving end of it.
You know what it reminded me of, Mo, yeah? Right? And I've been going to football, even though I look younger than you, I've been going to football. I've been going to football for a very, very long time, right? You know what it reminded me of? Back in the day, black players would get booed, they'd get bananas thrown at them and that. And it reminded me of those sort of people back in the day say, I'll just get on with it. It's only a bit of banter. That's exactly what it reminded me of when I heard him talking the other day. It was being apologists for racism.
100%.
We all heard it. We all saw it. We all saw how offensive it was. All the players came out and said how offensive it was. And I'm telling you that those fans who did it knew what they were doing. There was nothing. Listen, and to label everybody who went on these marches and that as some sort of, anarchists. My daughter went on 2 to 3 of those marches, right? She's the furthest thing you'll ever find from an anarchist. She went on there with her white friends. She went on there with her Asian friends. And when I said to her, because I hadn't really seen her go on those sort of marches before, when I said to her, I remember there's one day she was going on one march, it was pouring down in rain. And I said, you going today? And she said, Dad, I really just fed up of just, this discrimination all the time. Somebody's got to take a stand, So to try and label everybody who went on a Black Lives Matter march as somebody who's out to smash up statues and stuff like that, it's absolute rubbish. Yeah. Just like that was an absolute minority of people that were on those marches. Most people, the vast majority of people who went on those marches went on there just to say we've had enough and we just want to be treated equally.
And Robbie, do you know what? It's the oldest trick in the book for racists. When one person does something, you apply it to the whole race. One person do something, and I'm yet to see one white person be accused of all of the actions of a lone wolf when it's a white person. But when it's an Asian, when it's a black person, when it's a minority, all it takes is for one person. And it's the oldest trick in the book to be a racist, to do that. And the other thing that really bothered me, Robbie, and you just touched upon it, and this is where I feel like his white supremacy came out. He mentioned that he tried to deny the fact that this could be racist on the basis that a black player had won the Player of the Year award in 5 of the last 10 seasons at Millwall Football Club. The reason I say that that is a glimpse of his white supremacy is because he does not see it as a black player earning that on merit. That's not earned. That's not earned by the black player. That's given by the fans. No black person can earn something. It can only be given. That is a goddamn slave owner's mentality.
Sorry, I'll stop you for a second, but I'm listening.
What was that?
Sorry, I'd lost you for a second.
All right. I was just saying that the fact that he said that a black player has won the Player of the Year award 5 out of the last 10 times, instead of giving the due credit to the black players that have won that and saying, yes, they earned it, he's now tried to use that and manipulate it against them to undermine the fight against police brutality against black people. And the white supremacy way of thinking is that the black player didn't earn it. It's not a case of there's nothing to do with anything else. He just played well that season. He earned it. He views it as it was given to them. So be grateful. All of you black people out there, you should be grateful. It was given, not earned. That is the white supremacy mentality that Simon Jordan exposed himself. And I could not believe he was stupid enough to let that slip. It's disgusting, the fact that he tried to use that and imply some relevance between a black player who put in his hours of 10,000 hours and has played football all of his life to culminate in that moment where it's a good season and to be appreciated by the fans, to use that against him and the black movement against police brutality. I'm disgusted.
Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Now, before you go there, Mo, let me, because I know you got to shoot. Last night's one then with the referee. The assistant referee, I mean, obviously he's still under investigation exactly what happened. So I suppose we have to wait. But it was sort of the first time that players walked off and refused to play and the whole game was abandoned. And that was a high profile game, you know what I mean? Europa League, Champions League game.
Finally, they've done it, man. These players need to be more empowered. They need to feel more empowered to do it. Too often, we've seen people trying to stop a black player leaving the pitch. And I hate seeing that. You should be walking off with him, whether you're his teammate or his opposition. And I really like the fact that the PSG players, after the game, they did come out in support of that. And I just hope a full investigation and really strong action follows now.
All right, well, Mo, thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate it. And let's hope that next time you're on, we're talking about something more to do with football and not, you know, when are we going to stop talking about this sort of stuff, man? It's just...
And Jordan gets sacked. Not until people like face consequences for what they do, because, you know, the proof will be in the pudding, Robbie. You're asking, when will we stop talking about it? When society punishes this racist narrative. That's when. And we'll see. Do you think society will punish it, or do you think Simon Jordan will let this storm blow over and stay in his job?
You already know.
Exactly. Got the bottle, face up to us. Let us come on and talk to you about your white supremacist views, and let's see what happens then.
All right, Mo, thanks very much for coming on. Mo, they're very strong on that, and if you haven't seen that, you've got to. There's clips of it. What he said, I have to say that I was with Mo, man. You know what I mean? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You know, racism is racism, simple as that. We just don't want it in football. We don't want it in football. You know what I mean? People of all colours play football. People of all colours watch football. People of all races, religions watch football, enjoy football together. It's one of the things I love about football. It brings us all together. And I just hate when I see these things continually happening. All right, let's move it on. Obviously, we've got a game coming up tomorrow. It's the Europa League, Manchester United fans. You know that one? The one where you play on a Thursday night, where you guys are going to have to get used to it again because you're back in it. As I told some of my Man United friends, should I say, when they were having a pop at me at the weekend after I lost to Tottenham, when they've been having a pop at me for ages, is that be careful you don't join us in the same competition. Well, they have joined us in it. And you never know, we could end up playing them somewhere along the line. But let's discuss the game tomorrow. It's up against Dundalk. It's the last game. We've already topped the group. We've already won, every single game. I suppose it's a bit of a dead rubber, but maybe a chance to see some youngsters get a run out. Now, joining me today, I've got a youngster. One of our youngsters, right? I've got Harvey joining me. How you doing, Harvey?
Hello, Robbie. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. And we got Aaron. You got Aaron there?
Hi, Robbie.
Yeah, no.
How you doing, Aaron? Where are you from?
I'm from North London.
North London. All right. And Harvey, I know where you're from anyway, right?
Yeah.
No, but thanks for both of you for coming on tonight. Of course, it's the Europa League. We're back in that tomorrow. It's actually the last one of the group stages before we then move on to the next stage. It's such a long competition, as United fans will find out. But,
I'm sure they will.
first of all, were you both laughing at United last night? Be real.
It's different. Oh, go on, Aaron. You go first.
I was laughing my head off, to be honest. It was part of me actually wanted United to win because there were some rumours that Szoboszlai, who we've been linked with, he'll be more likely to go to Leipzig if they stay in the Champions League. But obviously it's always nice to see United fail.
I think it's great. I think
it was basically a win-win situation, but yeah.
No,
yeah, I hope that they don't come along and knock us out.
Well, yeah, I know. You know,
Or,
that is the thing, right? When you start like being all bold on it, like me, all the United fans now they're remembering this, and they're sticking a pin in this, and they're saying, "Anyhow, we get them, and we beat them. We're going back on Robbie." But listen, I ain't scared of United. We've beaten them already this season.
Yeah.
One of the few teams we have, right? Well, listen, guys, going into that game tomorrow, Europa League we're up against Dundalk. It's a shame that obviously we won't be able to get to go over there, but we're up against Dundalk. And I wanted to ask you guys what sort of team you'd like to see. I mean, just looking at this comment here from Damari Green, he says, we all want to see Balogun start, but could this be a motivational push for Aubameyang? Now, I want to ask you that question. Would you play Aubameyang in this game to get him scoring, to get his confidence back? Or would you look at this game and say, this is time to start Balogun. Let's see him in right from the start. You know what I mean? Last couple of games, he's played a little 5 minutes here. Let's see this guy right from the start and see what he's made of. I mean, Harvey, let me start with you.
I'd say, okay, so Lacazette started the Vienna game, and he had a very, very good game. And I thought, brilliant. Lacazette's got a bit more confidence in him, and he did really well in that game. Yes, it's only Vienna, but again, this is only going to be Dundalk. So on that assumption of, okay, he's had a good game, he's going to play well in the North London derby if he does, and we're going to score some goals, going to get his confidence back, then yes. But that didn't happen. He didn't score any goals. We didn't score any goals. So I'd say, would it really make much difference to Aubameyang? Because the Europa League and the Premier League are two very, very different things. I really don't think it will make a difference. I think maybe he can play some of the game, but I think I'd rather just see a pretty much inexperienced young team playing, if I'm honest.
All right. What about you, Aaron?
The thing is about Aubameyang, he's gone a very long time without scoring a goal. But I remember before the first Europa League game he played, he came on, scored the winner. And before that, he also had a bit of a goal drought, but never really kicked on from that. So, but I also think that Balogun won't really start because Nketiah's kind of got that place nailed down. But
you know what? The thing is, we've seen Nketiah.
Yeah.
I want to see Balogun. I tell you, I want Balogun in from the start.
Yeah.
I've seen Nketiah. Balogun, I want to see now. Or what about even play both?
Yeah. Why not? If anything, it's a time for Arteta to try some players or try things he hasn't tried before. We won the group. Yeah, it'd be nice to win every single game. I think we will win every single game anyway. But at the same time, I think, just go for it. I want to see Smith Rowe play. I want to see Balogun play, as you say. I want to see Aziz, Cottrell. There's all these young players. I want to see them all play. I mean, we might as well. Otherwise, when will we see them play? It's taken a while for the likes of Eddie and Reece and Joe Willock to come to where they are now. So, it's time for some of the other ones to get their chance, I'd say.
Yeah, 423, says, leave Aubameyang at home. We've already won the group. It's obvious. I don't know if it's obvious, 40, because it is a little way of getting him on the pitch and getting his confidence back. Because obviously we know he's a world-class striker, but his confidence is very low at the moment. And sometimes that old saying where they say, you know what, just, score a goal, even if it comes in off your bum or whatever, it's a goal, you're back on the score sheet, maybe that's what he needs. But Wayne Sage says, yes, definitely start Aubameyang and bring in Balogun on the second half. Start Emil Smith Rowe at number 10. I definitely want to see him. Hedge probably says, I just want to see Saliba laugh out loud. Oh God, man.
We have to wait till January at least to see Saliba, and he got sent off in the game against the under-21s game against Wimbledon anyway. So
that's right. And a funny, in that game, who else was the person who played in that? Martinelli played in that.
Yeah.
Played a half in that game, so it was great to see him back. But yeah, I mean, I want to see more of Balogun. I really do. He's a guy that's exciting me. I think get him on the pitch and create a bit of excitement around the game. What do you think, Aaron?
I've seen Balogun play quite a few times live at Bournemouth. And for me, what separates him from Eddie is that he's just more naturally aware of where he is in the box compared to Nketiah. He's definitely got he's definitely got more shooting ability. Weak foot, strong foot. He's good in the air. He's just also a nuisance for the defenders. He's constantly making runs. With Eddie, he's more of a nuisance when the opposition have the ball. He's a very presser. But I just think Balogun, his potential is a lot higher than Nketiah. So I really want to see him start.
So when you see Balogun play, is he the sort of player that sort of picks the ball up and runs at players, or is he more of a guy that needs to be on the end of stuff?
He really, really, really likes to be on the end of stuff, constantly in the box. But he does sometimes come short, and he's also very good at taking players on. So he's a very good all-rounded striker, which is why his potential is just very, very high.
Better than Eddie, in your opinion?
Yeah, for sure. I think we've got John Jules as well, who's on loan. He's really also similar level to Eddie, maybe just a bit higher, but I feel that Eddie's potential is probably just a bit lower than both of them.
Okay, Alex says Balogun and Aubameyang, two strikers. Why can't Arteta try out new tactics and players? He always tries too hard, and it's Dundalk, not Spurs.
Yeah,
Thank God.
Yeah.
You'd agree with that, Harvey?
Yeah, I'd say like we've won the group. It's not like we're still fighting to get out. You know, we've actually won our European group, unlike Man United. But anyway, so you know we're through already. We've won the group. It doesn't really make a difference what he plays. I don't think we'll lose the game regardless. That's the thing. So try something. But I also think at the same time, trying something is not necessarily going to work because he's tried things before and they haven't worked. So maybe what we should be saying is do what's already working, or do what you're trying to make work in this game. So when you play it in the Premier League, then you can see if it works or not. So yeah, that'd be interesting.
Okay, Duncan says, hi Robbie, happy Hanukkah. It says, big up Harvey and Aaron. Do you think we should start Aziz? 100% we should start Aziz. Yeah. When is Hanukkah? Is that this week?
Tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
Oh, happy Hanukkah, Robbie.
Happy Hanukkah. You know what, right? I remember I said to you before, Harvey, right? I used to work for this, back in the day, I was a surveyor. I used to work for this Jewish Housing Association. And I absolutely loved it because I got so many holidays, man. Because I used to get all the Jewish holidays, right? And I used to get all the Christmas and everything.
That was Robbie present.
They were like, Hanukkah. I go, yeah, brilliant. Happy days. Well, no, happy Hanukkah to everybody watching. This guy here, Mudup makes a good point. He says, Eddie scored 33 goals in 39 games. Balogun, 12 goals in 27 games. First team football is a different level. Can't say he's better, Aaron. And I suppose sometimes when we only see a player every now and again, we'll talk him up and we'll say, but you've seen him play. You think he's better. You've actually seen him play in the flesh many a time at Boreham Wood.
Yeah. So the point about Balogun having less goals is because the season that he first joined the under-23s, he started a lot of games on the bench because Tyrese John Jules had the number 9 spot for him. But Balogun, he's been with the under-23s for last season was his first full season with the under-23s. He finished scorer in the league. So I think that he's definitely going to be a very top player for us in the future if he signs the contract.
If he signs the thing, yeah. Ozil is better than Arsenal, says. Nketiah is still young and he can learn. I don't know why you give him heavy criticism. He has, he has got a lot of criticism recently. Eddie Nketiah, including even I've criticised him. And I like him as a player. Don't get me wrong, and I like him. And when you think about it, he came in a similar fashion like Balogun. And as soon as he came on the pitch in that game, remember when he came on, he just scored, and he's got a great goal scoring record. But a bit like that other guy said, first team football is a different level.
Yeah.
And when you're in the first team, every chance you miss goes against you. You go speak to Lacazette, he'll confirm that. You miss a chance, everyone's on your case, and that's the world now that Eddie Nketiah's in. It's a different world to under 23s where people don't really watch the games. They more look at your stats, and your stats will look impressive. But when you come into the Premier League, they are scrutinizing absolutely everything you do, every minute of your play, every run you make, why was he offside? He should have kept on side. The criticism is tenfold.
I mean, to be fair, in terms of like Nketiah and stuff, when he went out on loan to Leeds, although they were in the Championship at the time, he scored was it 7 goals or 9 goals in like 11, 12 games, something like that. It was something rather impressive for somebody that's just come into like a team like a Championship like top side. Obviously, they're in the Premier League now, and he was only there for 6 months, wasn't it? So, he's got the ability to score the goals. His stats say that. Yeah, it's different to the Premier League, but without getting regular game time in the Premier League, he's never going to have stats like that anyway. So,
I want to ask both of you. Yeah, I want to ask you this question. This was one that we were discussing today. The new keeper, Runarsson. What have you made of him?
No opinion on him.
What have you made of him? He's played a couple of games now in the Europa League. Let me ask you this question. If Leno was injured, would you be confident of him stepping in? Because I must admit, right, he looked a bit shaky there must be a lot of nerves there. He's a young player. He's just come into this team. He hasn't played at this type of level before, even Europa League level. But he's looked a bit shaky in some of them games. I don't know. What have you guys made of him?
I mean, I don't think we've seen enough of him. He's been a bit shaky, but he doesn't see much of the ball anyway because we're winning these games quite comfortably, really. So it's not like he's made a massive error. He's made a massive, amazing save. He's just been in goal. That's the way I've seen it, at least. I would have said maybe with Martinez that before he really came into the side, well, was he really someone that we were, expecting to be able to do what he did and potentially be better than Leno, but obviously DT probably won't accept that. But I think it's difficult to tell. Aaron, what do you think? I really don't have an opinion, if I'm honest.
Well, the only history knowledge I've got of Runarsson is the YouTube videos, because we just don't know enough about him. But I've seen a lot of people say that he's very good with his feet, and I saw a bit of that. But there was a shaky time where he just ran out and completely missed the ball, which put a bit of fear into me. But he's given me Jordan Pickford type of vibes where he's not so very good with shot stopping, but he's good on the ball. But again, we haven't seen enough of him to judge him, but we'll see. Yeah,
it's still too early. AJ says Runarsson is young and inexperienced. What do you expect? Mistakes will happen. But AJ, what the point I'm trying to make is, right, at the moment, from what I can see, he's the number 2. Yeah, he's the number 2. And I'm not too sure that if he had to come in for Leno, I see a couple of people, Team Chronofied says, unpopular opinion, Runarsson is better than Leno. Well, come on, I don't know what you've been watching. And it's obviously, Harvey, you're right, it is too early to judge. But from what I've seen of him so far, I wouldn't be too confident if Leno's out. Whereas before with Eddie Martinez, we're quite confident. Even before his great run towards the end of the season, when he came in the Europa League, he looked solid, Martinez. Runnison, like you said, that one when he came out and he just missed the ball. There was another one he was passing out from the back. He just passed it to their player who was about 5 yards in front of him. He's had a few little dodgy moments. I mean, listen, it is really hard to judge, but yet again, you're playing for Arsenal. The spotlight is on you and every little mistake you make.
I mean, I'd say as well, Martinez was at the club for 10 years. So he was playing with these players. He'd been with the same kind of coaches every single training session for, there's been Emery era, Arteta era, Wenger era, whatever. But he'd been at the club long enough and was playing with that kind of, same players for such a long time. Runnison's only just come in and started playing with these players. So that it's completely new to him. Martinez kind of grew up playing with the players that we have. So I think, if anything, that's kind of helped. Previously, that's helped Martinez become a better keeper because we've had some decent players in training for him. But at the moment, I mean, I wonder how many goals we're scoring in training. Hopefully more than we are on the pitch.
Our keepers are probably saving all of them. I mean,
if they are, then that's all right because it means that Ronison's a good keeper. But I'm not sure.
Charlie Fellows says, I just don't see why we are a club that faffs about like we do. Why do we never go and do it the simple way? Buying a proven goalkeeper as a backup, but buying unproven players seems to be the Arsenal way. But Mimi says the next Neuer. He's good with his legs. He's a mile. Neuer. He's about a million miles off Neuer at the moment. Lasker says give Macy a chance. Matt Macy's been at the club for a little while. Seems to be down the picking order.
One game left of the group stage. When else is Matt Macy going to play? Give him a game. We've won the group. I don't know. Why not? You never know. He might be decent. He's been there for a while.
Actually, on goalkeepers, I'm bringing up a lot of discussions we had today here.
Yeah.
Another one we had, right? Let me ask you two this, right? Because this was again another heated discussion here today, and DT was there today, and you know how much he loves Leno. But do you think Leno should have saved that chance from Sun on Sunday?
It was a bit of a 50-50. I feel like he got caught a bit off guard, but I also think that it's kind of the fault of the defenders because no one's really coming out to block the ball. Son just had a 6-yard circle around him. No one was anywhere near him. But again, I don't really know what to think of it, but it was a great finish, so can't really fault him for it.
I mean, I think, well, first of all, if Tottenham are running at you, okay, you have to at least be ready to save something. So he wasn't really ready for anything. And again, when you see, although I hate to say this, you see Harry Kane or Son coming for you, I think that's when you really have to be careful and try and save something just to see what goes on. And especially when you know that our defence is quite shaky, I think as a goalkeeper, as an Arsenal goalkeeper, you have to kind of be ready for something just to slip through or, rocket through. So I don't think he would have saved it. I don't think so. With
right. I looked at it again. At first, when people were saying, I remember on the day there was somebody who said, "Oh, he could have done better." I was like, "What are they talking about?" But then when I looked at it again, I'm like, you know what? I think he could have done a bit better with that. I really do. I think a player of his quality, I think he was a little bit late on it. Might have been able to save that because it was quite far out. We know it wasn't hit with. I mean, it was curling, but I don't know, man. I think a player of his quality, he could have got it. Dejan Iliev is a funny one. He's been at Arsenal since 2011 and has been in the reserves ever since.
He's out on loan at Shrewsbury at the moment, so he definitely won't be getting a chance. But I mean, I've seen him play live at Boreham Wood, and he's okay. He makes a few good catches. He's quite good in the air, I think. But again, so is Matt Macy. Iliev's been here for a long time. Matt Macy has. We've got more. There's like a James Hilson. There's some Estonian goalkeeper we've got as well. We've got loads of goalkeepers in the academy that seem half decent, but I guess none of them really get a chance. Martinez is the only example of that.
Yeah, imagine how tough it must be for a goalkeeper in the academy. To make your mark, and then imagine like Matt Macy. you know, he's number 3, and Martinez leaves to go to Aston Villa, and he's thinking, all right, well, now I'm going to be number 2. I'll be in the Europa League squad at least. I'll be able to show them what I can do. Maybe I can do a Martinez. And, you know, if Leno gets injured, I'll get my shout. And then also go and buy Runnison. You know, so it's really tough for goalkeepers. You know what I mean? Probably tougher for goalkeepers than it is for outfield players, because goalkeepers don't get substituted, do they?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so it must be really tough.
Also, when you've got the under 18s, you've got like 1 keeper or 2 keepers for that age group. For the under 23s, you've got 1 or 2 keepers for that age group. But for outfield players, there's so many different positions that you can play in. But with goal, there's just one position that you can specialize in. So it's just very hard to move up the ranks or even get into the ranks, which is it's just not easy.
Really, really tough. Really, really tough. So I think we all agree that Balogun should be in.
Yeah.
We all know that Runnison's going to be in. Aziz, from the start for you guys?
I don't see why not. I mean, okay, we haven't really seen much of him anyway, so it's like, why should it be a yes? But I'm more thinking, why should it be a no? Not why should it be a yes. I'm thinking we haven't seen him, so you know, go for it. Not we've seen him and he's young.
Let's see him. You know, we've won the group. We're through. Who cares? Even if we go out there and we lose, it don't mean nothing. No. I'd love to see Aziz.
I'd love to see all of them. I'd love to just see. Well, not after they lost to. Well, not obviously not the good youngsters, but some of the other youngsters lost to Wimbledon last night. Not the ones that we're going to see tomorrow. But yeah, I think as many youngsters as we've got, give them a chance.
Okay. What about Smith Rowe's got to start, hasn't he?
Oh, Smith Rowe. I'm a really, really, really big fan of Smith Rowe. I think the injuries have just been a really big setback to him. Huddersfield fans were singing his praises last season. They were calling him the best player they've had in like 5 years, 10 years. But I think in terms of what Arteta wants out of his players, he's probably someone that epitomizes the needs of the team. So legs in midfield, he could play on the left wing, he could play inside left, he could be in the midfield. He's quick, he's fast, good on the ball, skillful, and he also brings a bit of creativity, sense of urgency into the team. I just really want to see him start tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I remember Smith Rowe when he first broke into the, you know, when he was first sort of playing in the Europa League and that. I was like, wow, this guy, he's a player. And you are spot on there, Aaron. I've got a friend who's a massive Huddersfield fan, and he was singing the praises of Smith Rowe. And Smith Rowe was such an important player and probably their best player last season. And I've been very surprised at the limited amount of game time that he's had. You know what I mean? Because he's really not, you know, even in the Europa League, he's not played much. You know, or he's come on as a sub. I want to see him start that game tomorrow. I really, really want to see Emile Smith Rowe start and finish that game tomorrow. You know, I've seen what Joe Willett can do and all those guys, and I guess Willett will play because, you know, he didn't play at the weekend. But I would love to see Emile Smith Rowe right in from the start.
Yeah,
you know, I think for sure. I think you need to see Smith Rowe, Aziz, Balogun, maybe Balogun and Nketiah. I think we'll probably see Willock as well, to be honest. It'd be interesting to see if I know he's not a youngster, but El Neni, see if he's in there, because obviously he's been sidelined since his COVID. You know, coming back from COVID. So I think it'd be interesting to see how we play. But again, it'd be interesting to see if Lacazette or Pepe or Nelson or Aubameyang, who out of them is going to be there as well.
Yeah, I think we'll see Pepe because obviously he can't play against Burnley at the weekend. But it'd be really interesting to see if he risks any of Lacazette. Maybe, as I said, maybe puts in Aubameyang for confidence. I mean, let's move on beyond that game tomorrow and just quickly touch on the Burnley game, because the Burnley game now is absolutely huge. Again, questions. I mean, there've been lots of hot debates going on in here today. This is another one that's been happening a lot. If we lose that game to Burnley, and I'll put this to you first, Aaron, is time up for Mikel Arteta, or do we still look on it and say we back the process? It's one of the bumps in the road.
I will back Arteta for a long time because for me, what did it for me is the fact that he showed his ability in being able to win the FA Cup. And I think that earned him the chance to have a lot of time to show his capabilities, to show his process, how he wants the team to play, the playing out the back. You saw the 20 pass goal from the keeper. Every player touched the ball for the goal against City. The thing is, for me, you saw Unai Emery. He came in straight away. The first thing he did, he addressed the core. He bought Leno. He bought Socrates. He bought Torreira. He bought in Pepe the year after, a winger. With Arteta, he's been only really able to buy 3 starters, and that's Willian, who's just not filled up to the expectations that we have. Gabriel, who's probably been our best player this season, and Partey, who's world class. But he just needs more. I mean, for me, the fact that Saka's starting, as much as I love Saka, as much as he's probably the most prosperous player we have in our squad, the fact that he's starting every week and he's probably our most important player at the moment because of his form, it scares me a bit because we shouldn't be putting all this weight onto a 19-year-old. So we just really need a youngster, not youngster, really need new signings to back Arteta. And once we get those signings, then I think is the appropriate time to judge him.
But what if, I mean, you just named out some lovely 20 pass moves and all that. What you didn't touch on was the game against Villa. And you didn't touch on the Spurs game, or you didn't touch on the Leicester game, or you didn't. I mean, we can't keep losing. I mean, we've lost more games than we've won this season.
Yeah,
this can't keep happening. I mean, much as we want to trust the process, I mean, how long do you trust the process if we keep getting these defeats? I mean, we put that one to you, Harvey.
Okay, I said this in my in the Next Gen show that went out yesterday with Ty, which was quite a conversation. But I mean, yes, he backs the manager till the world ends. But for me, I think something a bit more realistic is forget whatever the result is on Sunday. Forget whatever the Burnley result, or when we play Chelsea, Brighton. I'm trying to think what else we've got coming up. But forget any of those games. Wait until January. End of the January transfer window. Arteta said he's going to get rid of some players that he doesn't want in the squad. So it'd be interesting to see who goes out of those players, because we do have a lot of players, and a lot of them aren't good enough to start, or they're not worth having in the club. It'd be interesting to see if he moves Mesut Ozil on, or if he brings him in. I think if he moves him on and we bring in someone like a Nawar or someone like that, then okay, that's a different situation. If he gets rid of Ozil and doesn't bring anyone in, or if Ozil doesn't come in at all but he stays, I think that will be interesting. But I think until then, you just have to go with the flow. I can't. Okay. Nothing's going to change before then. Okay. So why?
David Orchard says, hi Don, love from the Isle of Wight. Next big game, win or out. Can't beat Burnley, won't beat anyone. And basically what you're saying, Harvey, is, all right, so Harvey, let me put this to you, right? So I think the next games is Burnley, Southampton, Everton, Chelsea, and Brighton. Those are the games before we get to January. So you're saying to me, if he lost all 5 of those, you'd still keep him and just say, we got to roll with that and just give him some money to spend. How could you give a manager that amount of money to spend? No. Amount of games.
It's not even giving money to spend. It's more see what comes out of that January window. It might not be giving.
What might come out could be in relegation time.
It could be.
You could be asking players to join, and they could be saying, "No, I don't want to be in a relegation dogfight." He's got to start winning some games, hasn't he?
Of course, I'm not saying he shouldn't be winning the games. He should be winning every single game that we can. We're Arsenal Football Club. We're meant to be. We're meant to be winning league titles. That's what we're meant to be doing. So the fact that we're very far off of that, I think, just nothing's going to change. Bringing somebody else in at this stage is not going to change anything. Not going to change anything. So at least wait till the window, see what happens, see who comes. It won't change anything. You'll have one good game where the players start playing for the new manager. Oh, this new uplifting thing at the club. Listen, we've already had that with Emery. His first few games or his first half of his season, brilliant, cool. Freddie Ljungberg, yeah, the results slightly picked up, but again, he wasn't quite enough. Mikel Arteta comes in, wins the FA Cup, does all right, I guess, for where we were throughout the season, but you bring somebody else in, we're just going to have little bits of, mid-table or just about hitting Europa League or maybe reaching an FA Cup final. Nothing's going to change. I think this one we have to stick in it for the long run. I think.
Okay, Victor says Ranieri won the league with Leicester and was sacked halfway through the next season. Roberto Di Matteo won the Champions League with Chelsea and was sacked the next season. But at Arsenal, it's all excuses. But then this guy here, Milke says, if firing a manager in the first year solves the problem, then Fergie wouldn't have won 13 league titles. Harvey, if tomorrow you're in charge of Arsenal, you get a phone call from Mauricio Pochettino's people and they say, yo, Poch would love to take over at Arsenal. If you need us, we're here. We'll take over. And then we continued losing games up until the end of January. Would you replace Arteta with Pochettino?
Possibly, yeah. But I'd have to wait until January.
What happened to all the trust in the process on that? Possibly.
No, that's what I'm saying. You have to at least wait. You have to at least wait.
You still changed your tune, didn't you?
I say you have to at least wait until
you're ruthless, man.
What'd you say?
I said you're ruthless. I better watch my back.
No, you have to wait until at least January and see what happens, see who we bring in or see who goes out. That's what I'm more interested in seeing. Who goes? I want to see either Ozil come into the squad or a replacement for Ozil come in and Ozil go. Not that he will, but I want him to. Or Socrates leave, Mustafi can leave. I mean, we've got Chambers and Holding and Mari, and we've got so many defenders now. We've got David Luiz, we've got Gabriel, we've got a lot of defenders. Interesting to see who goes. Midfield-wise, we're absolutely stacked there as well. We've got a lot of players that either need to leave or go out on loan. And then see who we bring in. If we bring in players and I'm thinking, okay, this actually can go somewhere. Because I thought bringing in Partey, bringing in Gabriel, bringing in even Willian, I thought, okay, this is going to be okay. We've got a couple of good signings. We've got decent players. They just haven't performed. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. What do you want to do? You never really say.
Aaron, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Don't you be asking me you ask me questions. I'll ask you, right? Let me ask Aaron. Same question. Pochettino's people, they're on the phone to you. He's available.
So there are only a selective few that I'd currently take at the moment. Those are being Allegri, who Troops is a big fan of at the moment. And there's Ten Hag, who's the Ajax manager. Those are really like the only two who I really want at the moment over Arteta, because I just think that no one at the moment is able to do a job with this team. There's just not enough players in certain areas of the pitch. If Pochettino was to join tomorrow, he'd still have the creativity issue. If Allegri, he would still have a creativity issue. It's all about, like Harvey said, the January transfer window. It's not just about who we bring, it's who we replace with the dead wood. Are those replacements going to be people who take us to the next level? Are they going to be people that bring us back to the Champions League, bring us back to fighting for the title? I just don't think hiring Pochettino right now would bring us any closer.
Do you think Pochettino's going to have us in 15th?
I just don't think we'd be anywhere. There's still going to be the same problems. I think right now our performances are poor, but if we change it, are the problems going to remain? Yes. Are they going to remain as present? Who knows? Maybe Pochettino would be able to move us up the table, 8th, 7th. But I just don't think that anyone would be able to do a good job with this team.
Okay, Lewis says, realistically, how many overrated players will they get rid of in January? Who's going to buy the garbage we have? It was going to be very difficult to get rid of some of those players. But the one thing we do know is that a lot of those players will be gone in the summer because their contracts are going to be up. And Paz Twisted One says, really enjoying watching this. Big up Harvey, Robbie, and Aaron. We really enjoyed you guys being here. We've come to the end of the show today. I want to big up Aaron. Thanks very much for coming on. Great knowledge there on Balogun and a lot of those players, the young players who play in the under 23s. So I really appreciated that. And also to Harvey, thank you very much. Harvey, as you know, Harvey, a regular here on AFTV, part of the team. So guys, thank you very much for coming on. And of course, it's back to Thursday nights tomorrow. Manchester United will be joining us on a Thursday night. Looks like Ajax is going to be joining us on a Thursday night as well. You know, and let me finish on this one from Lloyd. He says, think we need to get Henry to help in our attacking forward, actually get the confidence back into scoring goals. And he says he can't wait to see Martinelli. Let me just get one more from this guy, AZ. He says, trust the process, lads. Once we get rid of the dead wood, we'll rise from the ashes. I like that one. A bit of poetry there. And one more here from Lenny213 says, I hope we realise what we had with Wenger and how we overperformed in the last few seasons for us. Okay. No, listen, you know what? Wenger did paper over a load of cracks. I think that is very obvious now. So, guys, thanks very much. Thanks, everybody who watched the show today. Don't forget, we'll be back in the morning. And don't forget, we're going to be watching along to the game tomorrow when we take on Dundalk. Last game in the Europa League. Thank God. Right. And then it's a busy Premier League program right up until Christmas. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow.